Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is just, again, the Democrats refusing to denounce John Jones of the horrible rhetoric that he spewed against a Republican. A Republican and his family, which is just two kids, and they are still supporting him because the Democrats fully endorse violence and everything, and it has been very vehemently clear on what they're endorsing. Now, what we have here is that we have Don Scott, which is the Speaker of Virginia House of Delegates. This guy here is not calling for the withdrawal of Jay Jones because obviously he supports the violent rhetoric that he spews and says like, oh well, we're focusing on these two men here, which is a big deal, instead of the two women that are going to be the first governors. Because just because women are becoming the first governors of a state, we have to focus on that instead of the bigger deal, which is the violent rhetoric and of what a Democrat said towards a Republican and his family, specifically his two kids. So that being said, I think that is a bigger deal than two women becoming the first governor of your state. Because these people, they can only play identity politics. Like, oh, it's two women. Like, who cares? It's two women. Big deal. I don't care. That's insignificant. If they are good for the job, they get the job, which we'll be talking about Abigail soon. But yeah, and then not only that, we have Tim Kaine that says he doesn't support or like what Jay Jones has said, but I'm still going to support him anyways. So without further ado, guys, let's show the clip.
Questions, though, that was asked, and it is an important one to a lot of people, is the issue of Jay Jones. Do you think that he should end his candidacy?
Look, Republicans want us to concede. Virginia law would make it, if he dropped out, then we would be conceding the election to Jason Mears. That's not going to happen. We got to continue the election. The voters have already begun voting and casting their ballots. What we need to be continuing to focus on is that these two ladies last night, it's not about them. I mean, we have a historic election here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the first time ever that a woman will become governor of Virginia. The two women had the spotlight last night, and we want to do is talk about these two men. So we need to continue to focus on those two ladies that are out there working hard, trying to earn the vote. And Abigail Spanberger, I believe, has done.
Senator, do you still support Jay Jones? You do. What do you think he should drop out of this race after those comments?
I just answered your question.
You have concerns about what you saw?
The comments are completely indefensible. I've known Jay Jones for 25 years, and those comments are very much out of character for him. So if I put the comments, which are clearly beyond the pale, against knowing this guy for 25 years, I'm still a supporter of Jay Jones.
What do you think about this?
Would you vote for him if you lived in Virginia?
That would be a very, very tough one for me to look at. It's just really wrong, and it bothers me.
There's also speculation that Beshear is going to run for president in 2028. We asked
that we have transparency and that there is a clear market in order to be enforced, because it is in the absence of an open and clear and extraordinarily transparent market that law enforcement is not able to.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Ms. Spanberger, your time is up. Now we'll go to Ms. Earl Sears on.
So yeah, this is ample evidence of showing of that Democrats are not going to refuse the violent rhetoric and saying that he wants the Republican family murdered, including the kids, and it shows them where the Democrats lie. Right? It shows you what they are doing now. There is going to be something with Abigail Spanberger where she is going to specifically be asked on whether or not she supports trans people being in women's bathrooms, specifically biological men being in women's bathrooms. And she does not really answer the question. And then after that, I'm going to show you exactly on how true it is she supports this. So without further ado, here's the clip.
Should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators in each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earl Sears?
There should never be
We're gonna get
nude
to you in a
men
moment.
in
my
locker
goodness,
rooms.
we finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms. Earl
have
Sears.
you finally
My opponent
Ms. Earl
said
Sears,
that
you are
now?
just
lying.
intruding on
Are
time
we in
here. We're
agreement
trying.
now? Are you
Ms.
going
Earl
to
Sears,
tell?
This is Ms. Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question for Ms. Spanberger. Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 30 seconds.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers
That's
and
a yes or
educators,
no.
are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each community.
But girls
and
need
that is
privacy.
important. And I say that as a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools.
Exactly.
And as someone who used to investigate crimes against children. The way that we keep our children safe is by ensuring they are safe in schools, which includes funding law enforcement and public safety.
But Ms. Spanberger, the question was, would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
Yes.
And my answer is that in each local community, decisions should be made between parents and educators and teachers in each community. It shouldn't be
Parents don't want
dictated
their
by
girl
politicians.
Yeah. So again, when she seems to be lying here. Spanberger is lying. Abigail Spanberger is lying, or she's not truly answering the full question. She goes on to do a spiel. This is what Democrats do. They don't answer the question. They go in on ad hominems, or they just use a very long description of not answering the question, whether it's a yes or no question. That's what they do. And Ian Carroll here is not wrong. She is 100% correct that she is the one that voted for this, guys. So if you go into Google here and you set Equality Act Virginia, it says the Virginia Equality Act does not exist. It says it's rather Virginia passed the Virginia Youth Values Act in 2020. Well, here's the thing here. It does exist. It's just if you type in the Equality Act Virginia, you're not going to get it. But if you're a bit more specifically clear, you get this. The problem that we have with this is that we have Google willingly orchestrating the Equality Act here. So this is known as the Equality Act, and it does allow people in the bathrooms. Now, men into the bathrooms. Now, again, you have to be very specific on your answering on your question here, because if you don't, Google will not do it. And the same thing with Grok. Now, if you go down to here, and this is the actual roll call and number of the Congress of here. You can see here, this is the Equality Act right here. So we'll go just do yellow. So this is the Equality Act right here. This is what this is. Now, if you go all the way down here, and you have to go down to this here, because if you don't do this correctly, you have this here. Now, with this here, you have it to where you have Spanberger, and she has said yes to this. To it. So legislative information and member Democratic Virginia. So she has said yes to this. Now we're going to go to the Congress.gov, which is the sponsor with its Takano Mark TA, the House Judiciary, and this is what it has to say. And now it was done, and we have this here where it says this is the HR 15, which is the Equality Act, which is right here, guys. And then you have this here, where the bill expands the Fair Housing Act, discrimination in public and private housing to include sexual orientation and gender identity. So that's what it says. On top of that, if we go to co-sponsors, guys, and then we go and we type in the same person here. Oh boy! So if you keep on going down, I don't know why it's doing this. It's just being stupid. So there you go. If you go down to here, there you go. Representative Spanberger Abigail Davis, Virginia. She did 100% co-sponsor this. So she's a co-sponsor of this, and she voted for it. So she is not wrong there. Now, if we go down to further stuff where we talk about the information, now it's even true. Because if we go and look at this, she has done this. Yes, the H.R. 15, the Equality Act, includes explicit provisions that would allow transgender individuals to access restrooms and similar facilities in accordance with their gender identity, effectively prohibiting discrimination that would deny such access. Which, by the way, it goes on to say here that the bill amends the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex, which is defined to include sexual orientation and gender identity. Under Section 9 of the bill, the sex encompasses gender identity and defined as gender-related identity, appearance, mannerisms, or other gender-related characteristics of the individual, regardless of the individual's designated sex at birth. The bill includes a specific role in Section 101 of B2, which, with respect to gender identity, an individual shall not be denied access to shared facility, including a restroom, a locker room, and a dressing room that is in accordance with the individual's gender identity. This applies to areas covered by the Civil Rights Act, such as public accommodations and public facilities, public education, and federally funded programs. So yes, guys, the bill does do this, and it's 100% factual, and it's without a doubt that it does this, and unless you people, there's no denying it. So again, we know that this is what this woman did, this is what she advocates for, and she's not saying this outright, because if she does say this outright, she knows the majority of the people will not vote for her. They know that the majority of the people will not stand for this. So she doesn't say this completely outright because she knows the consequences of those actions and how many people are against her. So she's a coward, and she does not stand by her ideals by principle. She does it cowardly so that way she could get in. That's what it is. So vote for Eric Carroll here, and there's more because she still will not denounce and will still not remove Jay Jones from it. Jay Jones from being the AG, even though he said these reprehensible things.
Ms. Spanberger, I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about it?
I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them.
You're running to
presumably for political reasons. But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee. And it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put out.
Thank you.
I am responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly for the people of Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger.
Well, I think as everybody knows, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian before I'm a Republican, and I'm required to forgive people. And it's hard sometimes when somebody has abused you, etc., but it's something you must do, because not to forgive is almost like, as someone said, you drink poison thinking that it's going to affect the other person. And I want to live a decent life, and I don't want to not have peace in my life. And so as I've said before, I would not say that. So that's why I'm wondering why my opponent won't say, beyond it's abhorrent and disgusting, why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race, because Jay Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race, Abigail? You have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor. I don't understand why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it? Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
Yeah, and there you go. There you have it. And here's the beautiful thing about this, too. Look at Abigail's face when she's being confronted like this with Elaine Carroll, right? Like, she is actively making this, oh, crap, I'm caught in the headlights look. Like, she just can't stand being grilled. And that's just the reality. These Democrats support these violent political attacks. That is just the truth. And until people start realizing on what the Democrats are really are, which is not really a surprise anymore, we end up finding out on what they truly mean, on what they really face here. Because there's nothing that they can do. There's nothing to do. And all of you guys go put in the comments down below what you think of what I think is true or not. But again, this is what happens here. This is what we have. Again, this is kind of the reality of the Democratic Party. They're pro-violence, they're pro-riots, they're pro-killing their other opponents as long as they get their way, as long as they get power. That's all that they care for, and that is something that people need to really start hitting home here. I hope to God that this woman does not win because she is a detriment to the people of Virginia and everybody else involved, and Elaine Carroll should get it because she at least seems to be a more rational woman than this lying coward that won't even address things head on like she should as an actual leader. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.